It says excellent condition. Guess we'll find out. Alright, guess we're live. Can you guys hear me okay? And can you guys see the screen? What's going on? Well, alright, so looks like everything is working okay. If you guys can see the screen and hear me okay, everything should be working according to the settings. Because the last time I was live, when I was doing a live stream with our private Patreon members, we had a really difficult time. Because I've been having a lot of power outages and internet issues here in India. So it's been a very, very struggle. It's been a really, real struggle to get a lot of videos out, to do these live streams, because they do take a lot of speed, so to speak. So right now we're doing okay. Looks like the condition or the strength of the Wi-Fi is decent. So we'll see where we go. If we do get cut off in the middle, I do apologize in advance. I'll let other people kind of join in, so I'll let everybody know. So we've got about 16 people right now. This will take a little bit of time to kind of refresh, but we got about less than 7 minutes for the markets to open. Again, welcome you guys. Thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate it. We've got the FOMC meeting today, so I'm very, very excited about that. We're gonna find out more information in terms of what the Federal Reserve decides to do with their policy and everything. So again, it's gonna be very, very important. Apple up a little bit over 1.4%, trading as high as 125. So we're seeing an extension of the rally from yesterday. And NEO is slightly flat on the day. Tesla is down about 44 basis points. We got Square in the green. Let's take a look at some other pre-market movers. What are you guys watching today in terms of stocks? What are some of the stocks that you guys are watching? Let me know in the live chat. I would love to know what you guys are watching. Yeah, I'll break down some cryptos as well. Haven't really looked into Ethereum all that much, or haven't really broken it down in the past, but I'll definitely look into that as well. So it's weird how like all this YouTube and Discord and everything kind of plays in, because I don't think anybody's gotten the notification yet, because we only have 35 people watching right now. So I mean, usually we do have a lot of people joining, but again, all right, we'll give it some time for people to kind of join in. So again, thank you so much for joining in. I will just send a message on our Discord very, very quickly, letting everybody know that I am going live. So alright, so let's take a look here. Let me just go over to this and copy, and I will just put that over to our videos. Alright, how's everybody's day going so far? How are you guys doing? And what are you guys watching in terms of stocks? What stocks are you guys watching today? Alright, what's going on, Sean? What's going on, Edu? What's going on, Varun? Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate your guys' support. We got about 5 minutes left for the markets to open, so I'll give you guys an update on the markets. We'll go over some of the pre-markets as well, although we only have 5 minutes left. And then the FOMC meeting is going to be at around 2 p.m. Eastern. So Luke, what's going on? Welcome. So again, once we have a little bit more people, I will go over exactly what happened like during our private live stream. So we have a little bit over, let's take a look, 64 people watching. So again, thank you so much for joining in. If the live stream does get cut off in the middle, I do apologize in advance, because I've been having a lot of power outages and internet issues here. So I'm still working on getting like a actual fiber optic or like a Ethernet LAN cable that's kind of wired in, so it doesn't kind of cut me off, or there's no issues with the speed, because we had our private Patreon live stream over the weekend, and it was absolutely like, we had a 2-hour live stream scheduled, and after an hour it kind of like dropped off, and it was really, really lagging, and it was just like a very bad experience. So we weren't able to break down as many stocks as I had planned, but I will be doing that for them in a separate video. So again, I do apologize in advance if it does get cut off. Right now the network is decent because we did had like an upgrade of the speed. So we'll see how or where we kind of go from here. So again, thank you so much for joining in. Again, pre-market looking like the market is higher. So let's take a look at some of the other benchmark indices. So I'm going to go over and open up. Actually, let's go over and open basic chart. So this is going to be the VIX. Again, very, very important. Right now, trading below 20 levels. That's the first time we're actually trading below that level. First time in a very long time, in over a year. So we'll see. We'll see where we go for the VIX, because you'll notice every time we've come down, we've kind of spiked from that level. And then let's take a look at the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ index. So we'll go over here. So SPY is up a little bit over 17 basis points right now. We got about less than 2 minutes for the markets to open. Very excited about the markets today, and NASDAQ is up over 74 basis points. So we'll see how we trade. Rita, welcome. Mohammed, welcome. Thank you for joining. And again, I was just telling everybody that my Wi-Fi, my internet has been really poor. I've been having like power outages, so if the stream does get cut off, I do apologize in advance. So Apple, what do you guys think about Apple today? It's up over another 1.5% right now. So the market's still got 2 minutes left to open, but we're pushing up. We're trading as high as 125. And these right here are going to be some of my notes from the FOMC meeting. So again, it's at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, I believe, at around March 16th, 17th. So very, very important stuff. They're going to be going over, the Fed funds rate, what that's going to look like in the future. Right now, we're sitting literally at, 0.05%. So literally at near zero levels. And in the past, you'll notice in the past, 2007, 2009, the Great Recession, this right here, the dot-com bubble, both times they had to cut interest rates substantially down to like 1% or even near 0%. And that's where we're at right now. So they can't go any lower, right? So if we do go up higher, that usually does act as some type of a headwind for the equities market. And this is from back in 1980s. Yes, the VIX did broke below the 20 levels. So you'll notice how we're trading as low as 19.9. Very, very important stuff for the VIX to watch because, again, it's going to have a significant impact on the volatility on the S&P 500. And if you were to look at the VXN, that's going to be the volatility on the NASDAQ. It's still a little bit away, so that support is going to be sitting roughly at 24, I want to say. So thank you so much for joining, Carl. Again, welcome on board. Rita, what do you mean by posting that live stream video? Which live stream video are you referring to? Pixel, I agree. On Apple, because it's a really strong player in the future. All right, so that right there is going to be the support for the VXN. That's going to be the volatility on the NASDAQ. It needs to break down below 24 before we can see any type of a green light for the NASDAQ index. All right, so we're going to quickly switch over to the benchmark indices. This is the SPY, this is the Q. Jan, that's a great question. We'll cover that shortly. I think it's at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, the FOMC meeting is. And then, they're going to talk about the interest rates, of course. I don't see any rate hikes anytime soon. I know that the market is pricing in a significant amount of inflation in the future, and I'm not surprised why that is, because we're seeing literally, near zero levels of interest rates. So the banks have a lot of liquidity. They have a lot of money supply. They're lending, borrowing at very low interest rates. That's increasing a lot of buying power. By the way, is the stimulus checks already available? Like, did they go out? Because I was reading up on it and I was talking to a few other people. What is the meaning of X rights? I'm not sure what that means. Is there anything in specific that you were talking about? Oh, okay. All right. That sounds good. Yeah. So I will be doing a separate live stream. I'm still working on getting the internet up to speed. Because it's been a complete nightmare dealing with everything. I mean, it's just the power outages here, and it's just I don't want to get into it, but I'm working on it and getting that resolved. So this right here is going to be the sector select index. We've got energy kind of lagging behind right now. So pre-market, the energy sector is down about 2%. So if you go over to the energy sector, you'll notice that ExxonMobil, ExxonMobil and Chevron, they're down about 1.5%, close to 2% each. The oil prices, Brent and crude, they're both down about 1.5% each as well. So tech leading, so that's interesting. And this right here again is going to be the QQQs. Apple is now selling off a little bit pre-market, and so is Tesla. Tesla again needs to validate that $700 support. We'll see if that level gets validated. NIO also breaking down about 80 basis points. We'll see if that $44 level gets validated. And this right here is going to be Square. Actually, let's switch that over to CCIV to really know where that's trading, because I know, up over 7%. Let's take a look. Trading as high as $30. Definitely making some type of recovery. Are you guys in CCIV? Is anybody in CCIV? Let me know in the live chat if you guys are trading or investing in CCIV stock. Let's take a quick look at how many people we have. So we got about 176, close to 200 people watching. So again, thank you so much for joining in, guys. Make sure that you guys drop a like, on the stream, so it really helps out with the channel. All right, so let's take a look. It's on the live chat. So the QQQ is pushing higher once again, up over 80 basis points. Tech is a leading sector. So, and then let's take a look at some of the other stocks and where they're trading. So we've got Trade Desk. Actually, let's go over to all stocks. What happened? My watch list. Yeah, well, that's not good. It did not save my watch list. But Trade Desk is up. Etsy, Apple, AMD. AMD, I just covered a video recently as well. Very, very high conviction stock for myself. I'm very bullish on AMD as well. I see a lot of potential. Nvidia's up over 1.3. Facebook, Amazon, Palantir. And then the ones in the red are pretty much Tesla's still down a little bit over 0.5%. So let's take a look at Tesla. So 700 is going to be the low, so it's exactly at $700.50. So that's going to be the level to watch. And for NIO, that's going to be sitting roughly at $44. Southwest is coming down. So we're seeing kind of like a rotation once again, right? We're seeing sort of tech leading the pack once again. And then sort of like those cyclicals and value like Boeing, Delta Airline, Exxon, Chevron, Carnival, Southwest, United Airlines, American Airlines. Although American Airlines had a really solid day yesterday, right? So I think it was up like 6% or 7%. But Wynn Resorts also down. And tech is just straight up leading right now. AMD up over close to 2%. Look at the Qs. Up almost 90 basis points on the day, while the S&P 500 again struggles a little bit. And this right here again, now you'll notice energy really slumping down over 2%. And tech is again leading close to 1%. This is kind of like our horse race. This is what I like to call our horse race. So like you let the horses out as soon as the market's open. And we got like 8 horses right now. So we got technology, consumer cyclicals, communication services. We got industrial, utilities, real estate. We've got materials, and we've got financials and energy, right? So those are all going to be the select sector indices for the S&P 500. So far we know that year to date, energy and financials have been the leading sectors. But I strongly believe that is going to sort of reverse in the future, and we're going to see kind of tech lead off towards the end of the year. So what's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate you guys. Adam, thank you for joining. I really appreciate that. Again, if you guys want to get access to our private Discord, if you haven't already, and get access to my TradingView charts, which will automatically sync to your chart, so all these analysis will be available to you guys every time we look into look at CCIV up over 12%. Definitely pushing higher over $32. That's a really, really bullish move. But yeah, if you guys want to get access to that, the Patreon link is going to be down in the description below. So Apple pulling back a little bit, NIO getting bought up heavily, back up over green. Look at that candle on the 5-minute, right? So massive amount of volume coming in, and so is for CCIV. It's really pushing higher. So all right, let's take a look at the SPY. Still struggling a little bit, and QQQs are also pulling back slightly. What do you guys think about Tesla and NIO? Is Tesla going to break out over 720 today? That was kind of like the question that we had yesterday in our market update. I was asking everybody if Tesla's going to break out over $720 and if NIO is going to break out over 40 or 49 to close to $50. That's going to be a really, really strong resistance that we need to watch for both of those stocks, because once we do break out, that is going to lead to more bullish sentiment for the stock, and that will potentially regain control for the bulls as well. So the SPY definitely pulling back. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually goes into red if tech sells off. Do you guys think tech will sell off? Lily is like, everybody's being a responsible citizen and using their stimulus to buy more shares. What do you guys think about tech? What do you guys think about the NASDAQ? Do you think we're going to see some more upside, or are we going to pull back from these levels for the NASDAQ? Because the NASDAQ is already a little bit off the highs. The S&P 500 is already making new all-time highs. Apple is pulling back a little bit. Look at CCIV. It's so volatile. Look at that. Traded all the way as high as $33 and then back down to 32. It's got a massive long wick right now. Tesla definitely pulling back. It's trying really hard to stay above 700. We'll see if that level gets validated. So no, don't think Tesla will. Yeah, I mean the pattern does look weak, and we just broke down below 700 in one massive candle round to 697. Looks like NIO is also getting a lot of selling pressure right now with this long wick, and Apple is also selling off. So I wouldn't be surprised if today actually turns over, if the markets kind of roll over from tech leading to tech maybe coming in second, third. We are already seeing communication services kind of leading the pack now. Energy pushing up, so it just crossed over materials. And consumer discretionary, so Amazon and Tesla are in consumer discretionary. Really, really important sectors that are kind of selling off. We've got tech right now basically behind materials, real estate. XLP is going to be consumer staples and communication services. And that's what we want, right? We need really stabilization on the stock prices because, now it's a little bit different because we've seen the S&P 500 rally all the way to new all-time highs, and the NASDAQ is still off, I think, about 6%, 7% from the highs. Let's take a look at the VIX. I mean, the VIX should be pushing up over 20 once again. We'll see if that actually happens. It's hovering right at 19.9. I mean, it's literally like right at that support. I mean, if you close below 20, then that would be something. Because again, coming in from the pandemic highs when it spiked over 500%, that's the first time. That would be the first time when we see a breakout over a breakdown below 20 levels. Let's take a look at Palantir. So CCIV again forming some type of a red candle. Palantir is also selling off down about 1%. Let's go over to our main watch list here. Let's take a look at some of the stocks. So, all right, so we got Fubo TV up over 2%. We got AMD up over 2%. Unity Software up over 1.6. Pinterest up over 1.6. Shopify over 1.5 almost. Google is also up. Apple is up. Nvidia, Facebook, Qualcomm, Netflix, Twitter, PayPal, Microsoft, ARKG is about as green as we have. And then we got, where's Amazon? So Amazon is slightly in the green, up over 54 basis points. It's weird because all these patterns look like they're selling off, but everything is still in the green. So they're basically coming from a gap up higher, and then we're pulling back. Palantir is the only one right now that's down a little bit over 2%. We got Enphase down over 2%. GME is down over 14%. AMC is down over 9%, excuse me. And then we got Plug Power, NNDM, Enphase. What do you guys think about Enphase Energy, by the way? Enphase Energy and kind of like Plug Power, they're kind of like in the same sector. What do you guys think about those two? All right, let's take a look at how many people we have. We should be at a reasonable, all right, 279, 280 people. Again, thank you so much for joining. Make sure that you guys smash that like button. Really helps out with the channel. Yeah, I mean, we had a pretty significant sell-off in February. So the Nasdaq pushing up once again. So the bulls are kind of stepping in, up over 80 basis points. Again, this type of volatility we're gonna see because of the Bloomberg, because of the FOMC meeting, which is again later today. So, we'll find out at around 2:30 p.m. what that's gonna look like for the markets. Because if you guys want, I can quickly go over that. If you haven't really watched that video. So if you haven't, I can quickly go over a quick summary on what we're expecting in terms of interest rates, the SLR extension beyond March 2021, because all those things are going to be very important for where the markets trade remainder of this week, again going into next week. We already know the CPI data, we already know kind of like the inflation forecast and where we were back in February.
Simple open platform built for everything from edge to cloud.
All right, we'll kind of tune back in to the Bloomberg, but the Nasdaq up over 80 basis points. The S&P also trying to stay up there. So again, a lot of consolidation. This is what usually happens. Like you'll see back and forth at the open, at least in the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes, until we kind of figure out one direction where a support level gets validated, resistance level gets validated, and then we see either a potential breakdown or a push higher. But I'll give it another 15 minutes till 10 a.m. for the markets to really decide kind of like the direction behind these moves. All right, so the stream seems to be working okay. At least we don't have any problems so far. What do you guys think about GME and AMC right now? I know it's been on a rally recently. I mean, it was up trading all the way as high as like $300 a share for GameStop. So, all right, let's take a look at the chat. So why does Baba keep selling off? I heard about some more regulations and scrutiny from the Chinese government that was more geared towards Tencent. But Alibaba has also had a lot of headwinds, right? I mean, a company can be fundamentally undervalued, or their intrinsic price could represent a lot of upside, but that may not be reflected in the valuation in the market, right? That's what I feel what it is for Alibaba, is that their core business is so strong, but they've got a lot of external factors related to the Chinese government, the scrutiny, and that's what's really driving Alibaba's price action lower and lower every time. And even if it's more geared towards this time around, more geared towards Tencent and some of the other companies, it's still acting as some type of a catalyst for Alibaba. So Tesla trying to stay above 700. We're kind of hovering right at that level. For NIO, we are coming down over 1%. Yesterday was also a red day for NIO. So actually, let me go ahead and pull up my white chart, because we are potentially getting rejected at that resistance level. So what is the resistance for a NIO stock? If you guys did get a chance to watch my previous video, what is the resistance we're watching for a NIO? And then what is the resistance for Tesla as well right now? Right, so we'll check Palantir again, selling off a little bit, down about 1.27%. Apple is trying to stay up there, up over 1.5. Then we got some other plays as well. Corsair is up over 78 basis points. It's also in our growth portfolio. In fact, I will be adding more shares of Corsair very soon here. We've got Amazon up close to over 85 basis points. We got PayPal up over 1%. And Twitter, Shopify, Lemonade, they're all up over 1-2% each. So this is the NASDAQ futures, and let's go over to the IX. I see it's going to be the NASDAQ itself. So again, a huge gap up, and we're seeing more potential upside for the NASDAQ itself. But the next resistance, you guys know, is going to be sitting roughly at 13,600. That's the level we're watching. Again, you'll notice that we are seeing more bullish sentiment for the S&P and the NASDAQ. The SPY pushing higher. Is SPY going to break out over 400? What do you guys think? SPY breaking out over 400? Yes or no? For the S&P 500 ETF. That is going to be a huge level for the S&P to break out of. So we're talking about Well, it probably won't be happening today, but eventually, sometime this week. Oh, it could happen today. I mean, it's only 65, 67 basis points away. What do you guys think? Is this move coming in today? Yes or no? For SPYs. Oh, massive amount of volume coming in for the Qs right at 9:45 a.m. and we're pushing higher. Christian Powell is speaking at around 2:30 p.m. Eastern, as far as I know. Again, very important for the Federal Reserve to kind of tell us about where they see interest rates going, because we're in a very low interest rate environment. We know they're going up. We know that the only place they're going to go from here is up, but we just don't know when, right? That's going to be whether it's 2 years, whether it's 4 years, whether it's 2 months. That's kind of like what we're trying to get a better understanding and a better feel of when they're going to be potentially looking for some rate hikes. We may not see that because of the labor market, even though the unemployment rate has come down. But real unemployment number, like if you look at the real number, like actually in reality how many people are unemployed, people are saying that it's close to 10% as opposed to the 6% that's kind of like broadcasted or showed according to the labor market. But again, and Jerome Powell has like different metrics that he looks at in terms of different demographics, how many job openings, the hire rate, the quit rate, all those different things that he looks at as well. So yes, no for SPY. I think it's had too much gains today. The QQQ is up over 1% now. So we're seeing a strong momentum for the Qs. We'll see if that actually continues to get validated. Let's take a look at all these stocks. So Tesla is still pulling back. NIO is still kind of consolidating above 44. That's going to be the support level to watch if you guys have been watching the videos. $44 is a support level for NIO. Tesla, it's going to be roughly at 700. We're hovering right at that level, which is good. That's actually a good sign for these two stocks because it's stabilizing the stock price, right? Apple up over 1.76%, so definitely seeing a lot of momentum for Apple. And then we've got Palantir down about 82 basis points, so that those losses are getting parred. We are pushing higher. We got Visa up over 5, pretty much flat. Square also trading as 250. Like this one really got away. What do you guys think about Square? Undervalued, overvalued, a lot of growth potential in the future. What are your price targets for Square? By the way, I don't know if you guys can actually see that, but if you guys would like to kind of connect with me on Twitter and Instagram as well, there should be like my username up top somewhere over here. So if you want to connect with me, definitely check that out. Wow, Apple really pushing higher, huh? It's done being red on the year. It's been down over 5% year to date, right? Carl, I personally don't trade OTC stocks or invest in them. But yeah, small cap, micro cap, I personally don't look at unless it's like a really company that catches my eye in terms of the total addressable market, and it's a business that I can understand. But other than that, I mostly focus on mid cap, large cap companies as well. I do like focus on small cap because Corsair Gaming is small cap. We look at a lot of other companies, including Pubmatic, including Trade Desk at one point, which was small cap. So we do look at small cap sometimes, but not always. But that's where the opportunities always are at most times as well, right? Small cap and then growing into like a mid cap company, and that's where they grow. But no OTC stocks for myself. Ian, yeah, right, you're right. Square's PE ratio is really, really high. So that's why I'm not, even though I see there's a lot of growth potential for Square in the future, I'm not too comfortable kind of buying at these levels. And I just have to acknowledge the fact that it got away from me when it was under $200 a share. I would have definitely considered buying at those levels, but it really got away very, very quickly. Right. Banks are down today, so let's take a look at banks. So they may be up now, but like they are, for the most part, they are down. It's mostly the fintech sort of companies like Visa, MasterCard, PayPal that are up. But Wells Fargo, we got Citigroup, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, and Berkshire Hathaway. They're all in the red. Tesla is now back below 700. It looks like NIO is potentially going to break down below 44, which is okay, which is not a bad thing for NIO, because if I were to go over the NIO's chart, you'll notice that $44 is the next support that we talked about in my last night's video. But even if we do break down, right, what is going to be the next support for NIO? What do you guys think is going to be the next support, and why is that actually going to be okay for NIO to break down below $44 per share? What is going to be a cause for concern for NIO? Like right now, if it does come down, all right, so let's take a look here. So right now, if NEO actually does come down and break down below 44, this right here at 38.50 is going to be the next support. The only cause for concern for NEO that I personally see is going to be if we break down below that level too for the second time and come down all the way to $30, close to $31, where we retested back on like March 5th when we had this madness and absolute incredible sell-offs. That's when I would see no progress from the chart. We're pretty much making a horizontal low, and at that point we could also make some type of a lower low, meaning that we are going even further down than we did the last time. But as long as we're making progress, if you validate $44, great. If you don't, if you come down to 38.50, that's going to be the next support. And if we do see some type of consolidation here and then a push higher, that would mean some type of higher lows for the pattern. That's actually a good sign for NEO's progress. But it looks like we are potentially going to break down below that level. A lot of stocks are turning red, except for AMD and Apple, Qualcomm, Netflix, Twitter, Shopify, and Facebook, Nvidia. LABU, I have actually, in fact, it's funny you mentioned that. I do have a swing trade on LABU. Let's take a look at where that is. I think it's going to take some time to actually come into fruition, but it has been down like substantially from the highs. So if you were to look at LABU, like it's reversing now, but it's still down. It tested its 200-day simple moving average, Zach. And if you were to look at XLB, I believe that's going to be biotech. Or no, that's going to be materials. So let me take a look at which one that is. XBI, I think that's what it was. So if you were to look at XBI, you'll notice how that's also been aggressively selling off, retesting its 200-day simple moving average. So they both trade in a very similar pattern, right? So it's been down roughly 25%. So give it some time, because if you do see a consolidation, I mean, that there's a lot of upside for this as well. So you're looking 18% upside for this, and then if you look at LABU, you'll notice that's plenty of upside for this, right? Because it's a levered ETF, so again, they're not recommended to be held long term. They're only, in my opinion, only expected to be traded or swing traded or kind of hedging those positions. So again, I do see it at least retesting highs of $150, $160 if the biotech sector and that ETF, the S&P 500 ETF, kind of reverses trend very, very soon. But this has been an absolutely crazy sell-off for the entire market. So, all right, NEO now down below 44. So let's take a look at here. We are down for a lot of stocks. Palantir down over 2.84%. We've got Tesla down over 1.7, trading as low as 695. Apple now down to 125. Let's take a look at the energy sector. Is that pushing up? Nope. Exxon down over 2.5. Chevron down over 2. Oil prices are also coming down a little bit. ARK ETFs, they are kind of like mixed today. So you'll notice how ARKF is up because that's going to be PayPal, Visa, Square. Those are companies that are in those ETFs. But Tesla and Genomics and ARKQ, robotics, are down in the red. All right, so let's take a look at which sectors are leading today. We've got communication services. So communication services leading. Definitely, that's pretty strange. And then we got technology coming in second because the Qs are still up close to 1%, but we've got individual stocks kind of pulling back. I mean, it's been really volatile. If you were to look at these charts, they're kind of like back and forth. Let's go over to the 1 minute chart here. So, I mean, there's no surprise that we're still making lower highs and lower lows. Let me actually go ahead and remove these. So, let me bring out the VBOPs. So yeah, I mean, we're still getting rejected by those levels, and the pattern is still like in a downtrend. So I don't expect, unless there's a lot of positivity coming in from Jerome Powell at the Fed meeting, you know, I don't personally see the trend reversing on the day. We'll see if that actually happens. All right, Varun, hey man, I remember when you were at 40K subs just over a month ago. Now you're at almost 50K. Great job. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And again, my only goal is to provide you guys with as much value and information as possible. Again, we broke down the Oh, really, Gal? That's awesome. That I will definitely look into that because yeah, 124 was a level, right? You're right. So 124, 125 was a level that we were talking about. Today it gapped up and pushed up. So definitely we're seeing some type of a bullish divergence that coming into fruition. But Varun, thank you so much again. I really appreciate you for the support. So let's take a look at Apple very, very quickly. So the VIX now at 19.7. It's coming down, you guys. So we got the SPY and the QQQs pushing higher. Look at the Qs up over 1% now. A lot of tech stocks probably are pushing higher. So let's take a look at where we are on the day. So let's go over to FinViz and let's take a look at the maps. So I'm going to quickly take a screenshot of this. Alright, so we're going to close this. So, alright, let's take a look at the market right now. So you'll notice we've got tech leading. Communication services, alright, so that's going to be actually Google, Facebook, right here. So we've got Google and we've got Facebook in communication services. Disney is down a little bit. We've got Netflix up over 1. We've got Amazon up over 62 basis points. But Tesla is still kind of struggling, down about 1.4, 1.5%. And all the other sectors are pretty much down, right? So we've got, banks aggressively down here. We've got energy sector struggling as well. So energy is going to be over here. So they are struggling too. And let's take a look. So Apple is up, Microsoft is up. So those are going to be the green ones that are pushing the S&P and the NASDAQ higher. And we got semiconductors across the board. By the way, Lisa Su also, was talking about the global chip shortage, and also we talked about it on the channel and how that's a good problem to have, right? When your demand is kind of exceeding so much that you can't even keep up with it, that's always a good problem to have that can be solved. Now the way it's solved is always important because you don't want to spend too much money in manufacturing production to kind of meet demand now, but what if that demand is no longer there, like from a year from now or 2 years from now, right? Which I don't personally see the case being for semiconductors and chips, because electronics, autonomous driving, the gaming sector, all those sectors, industries are going to require a tremendous amount of chips and semiconductors. So I'm literally very, very bullish on semiconductors, like the entire sector for like the next 10 years, like because that's where we're headed, right? Autonomous driving, think about it, how much chips are going to be utilized for AI, for the gaming sector, which is expected to also grow substantially. Electronics, I feel like it's already been accelerated, but still, we've got a lot of work from home trends kind of progressing in a lot of countries, and there's going to be demand for MacBooks. There's going to be demands for tablets, iPhones, or phones in general, smartphones, computers, laptops, so on and so forth. What do you guys think about the semiconductor industry, right? What do you guys think about chips and chip makers in general, right? I would love to hear from you guys and what your thoughts are. But healthcare is slightly in the green, pushing the NASDAQ or keeping the NASDAQ up there. And let's take a look at some of the other sectors. So we got utilities struggling a little bit over here. So they are down a little bit. We've got industrials and some other consumer defensive stocks, kind of like a mixed bag, green and red slightly, but it's not like any sector is leading substantially. It's mostly with the help of a little bit of big tech that's keeping the NASDAQ up there with the help of QQQs as well. So wow, all right, so look at QQQs. Up over 1.2%, the S&P up over 26 basis points. So we are up substantially, but NIO and Tesla are still somewhat struggling, I believe. So Tesla is down to 699 once again. NIO still validating 44. Juan, that's a great call. I like that. NIO will not close below 44. That's what we like to hear, right? That's the support that we have talked about in our videos from yesterday. And it's going to be a sign of progress. It's going to be a sign of progress. And we're going to see some strength from the bulls kind of kicking in at that support at $44. We'll see if that actually happens. In my opinion, there's a strong chance that we kind of validate that support and then break out over 49.50 eventually. And it's the same case for Tesla. Tesla has a support at 700, 699, kind of aligned with that 21 EMA. That's where we're getting rejected right now. We'll see if that level continues to get that validated or not. All right, let's take a look at select sectors. So tech once again coming in close second. We've got XLC is, I believe, communication services. Yep, so communication services is going to be Google, Facebook, kind of leading the pack right now. And XLK is going to be coming in at a close second. Energy, financials, materials, and industrials are going to be the lagging 4 sectors right now. And the VIX is now trading as low as 19.7. And then let's take a look at VXN. So VXN is going to be trading as low as 28.24. So we still have to break down below 24, I believe. So there's a lot of support for this index at close to 25. Call it 25.50. All right, so we'll go over that as well for the EV sector. Again, so these are just going to be the volatility indices, so the VIX and the VXN for the Nasdaq and the S&P 500, something that we look at very regularly to understand how much volatility there is for the broader markets. This is going to be our select sector index chart that goes over 8 different sectors within the S&P 500 for us to get a better understanding, well, what is pushing the markets higher intraday, right? So these right here are going to be 2 winning sectors. So if they are up, you'll notice that we're up over 90 basis points and up over 68 basis points intraday for these 2 sectors, and then the laggers are going to be down here. And you'll notice a significant divergence, right? So this is pretty clear which sectors are kind of leading the pack and which sectors are kind of going down. And again, that K-shaped recovery that we're seeing, once again, like people have been talking about it, but intraday right now, energy selling off, tech is pushing higher. So that's just a clear rotation again, once again, from value cyclicals over to those stocks. So ExxonMobil, Chevron down over 2%, 3% each. And you'll notice QQQ is just absolutely charging right now. All right, Palantir. Palantir, I have 2 support levels for you, 25 and 2250. Those 2 support levels, if those continue to get validated, in my opinion, those are great. Oh, look at Apple. Up over 2%. Wow. What do you guys think about Apple? Is Apple breaking out over 128 today? You guys think we're going to break out over 128? What do you guys think? Mo, I don't own any crypto, unfortunately, because I think it's banned where I am. It's I can't actually trade or invest in any crypto, so I'm really looking at different ETFs and stocks. Max, what's going on, brother? I love it. Thanks for joining in. And yeah, I really appreciate that. So, what a surge. Yeah, Apple definitely surging higher. It's pushing higher up over 2%, so we'll see if that continues to go up. Tesla really needs to kind of break out over 700, and then NEO is already pushing higher. We'll see if that continues. But QQQs, look at that rally intraday. Like, this is phenomenal for the Qs. AMD up over 2%. We've got Amazon up over 1.3%. So Tesla is the only one that's kind of struggling right now, and so is NEO. Apple to the moon. Yeah, let's take a look at Apple for the other chart that we have on the main chart. So we'll put that over here. So Apple on the daily chart, wow, backtesting that backtesting that 50 EMA. That's the important level, 126, and this is the bullish divergence that we were talking about for Apple. So, we were making kind of lower lows, and this right here we're going to be the higher lows for Apple. for the RSI, right, for the relative strength index, while the price action was making lower lows. So it was only a matter of time when we could have seen a breakout over that level and a trend reversal for Apple stock. So again, that right there is going to be the 50 EMA. So the yellow line you guys see on the chart sitting at 126.88. The high for the day, 126.84. So we got 4 cents shy. We tagged at that resistance before pulling back a little bit. Quick poll. You guys think we're breaking out over that 50 EMA today, or are we getting rejected and closing below that level? What do you guys think? What do you guys think for Apple? Are we breaking out over that 50 EMA at 126.88? Call it 127. Or if we're going to see a rejection and it won't be able to close above that level. $128 should see 128. Rejected. All right, let's take a look at Boeing real quick. Tesla really struggling, huh? Down about 2%. Rejection. Price target 130 is breaking up today. All right. How much is down? How much is Boeing down today? Let's take a look. 3.5%. Wow, this has been a strong downtrending pattern. Like, it's just been straight up selling off. Wonder what's going on with them. So let's read this article really quickly. Alright, so just over a year ago, since the pandemic turned the world upside down, investors are now starting to get over it. For the first time since the pandemic hit, respondents to the Bank of America Fund Manager survey said the market faces bigger worries. Inflation now has become the biggest quote-unquote tail risk or outlier event that could cause the most damage. The widely followed gauge of professional investors showed a total of 37% respondents in the March survey cited that its biggest challenge, followed by 35% for taper tantrums, sharp reactions in the bond market in the event that the Federal Reserve unexpectedly pulled back on its monthly asset purchases. A total of 220 investors with $630 billion in assets under management participated in the bank survey, which was conducted from March 5th through Thursday. And so specifically, problems with the vaccine rollout remains the third biggest threat. So we're talking about 3 threats here. Fewer than 15% of respondents said. And then March. All right, those 3 concerns easily outdistance a bubble on Wall Street, higher taxes, or harsher regulation under the new administration. So a bubble on Wall Street, wow, that is also a concern. And higher taxes. Higher taxes, I understand. Inflation, I understand. And again, when we're trying to understand, like, if there's going to be potential breakdown or another crash or potential correction for the markets, we always need to understand what is the worry in the markets out there, right? What is out there in terms of the macro levels that is causing investors to be fearful, that is causing investors to have some type of concern with the markets. We've talked about taxes. The sooner we can get to the end of this year, going into next year, the better it's going to be for taxes, because we already know that there is going to be some type of, some type of a corporate tax increase, some type of long-term capital gains tax increases as well. But next year is also going to be a congressional year, so those midterm elections are really going to affect if that actually gets passed or not. Inflation is coming, right? We already know it's coming. But to the degree at which it's going to be there and how the Fed reacts to it in terms of the interest rates is going to be very, very important. The bubble scenario, I'm really surprised as to what the thesis is going to look like. I mean, why is that actually in a concern for the markets. The shift in priorities comes in the U.S. vaccinating more than 2 million people. Inflation has come into the view the year as government bond yields have spiked to pre-pandemic levels. One market-based indicator, the break-even rate between the 5-year Treasury yields and inflation index bonds, has jumped to the highest level in nearly 13 years. Survey respondents said a move to the 2% level in the 10-year Treasury note could cause a stock market correction or more than a 10% drop. A jump to 2.5% would make bonds more attractive than equities. What do you guys think about that? If they jump to over 2.5%, are you guys going to ditch equities to go over to the bond market? What do you guys think? So a 2% move to the 10-year yields is going to potentially be a 10% drop for the markets is what they're saying. And a jump to 2.5% is going to be making them more attractive. The equities are going to be less attractive, less appealing to investors. Though markets have been volatile during the run-up in yields, major averages have scaled near record levels. Garrett Banging Entertainment, thank you for that comment. Why does he look like a monkey? Thank you. I really appreciate that. And thanks for joining in. The benchmark note was trading at around 1.6% Tuesday morning. Though markets have been volatile during the run-up in yields, the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 7.7%. But all right, so broadly speaking, the survey shows that investor sentiment is unambiguously bullish. So again, it kind of aligns with our cautiously optimistic scenario that I've been kind of telling you guys for the past few weeks. But the QQQ is now up over 1.3%. So definitely a lot of momentum coming in for the NASDAQ. And then XLK Tech leading once again. Slightly behind communication services. We've got the VIX now trading at 19.7. So Tesla back over 700. So we are seeing some momentum for Tesla and for NIO. Back up over 44. And Tesla back up over $700. Palantir is still kind of struggling a little bit. So it's down over 2%, close to 2.5%. Doing a 38-minute episode on bonds. All right. What other stocks do you guys want me to look into? So let's dive into some other technicals and break down some other stocks as well. Tesla is pouring losses. That's good. It's pushing up. Down only 88 basis points. And we've got a lot of other tech stocks as well pushing higher. Nvidia, AMD, Amazon, all in the greens. Boomers buying bonds. Right, so we're gonna break down some stocks over here very quickly. All right, so let's look at CHPT and where that's trading. So down to $25. So again, the trend is really in the favor of the bears right now, right? So we're seeing a lot of weakness in terms of the price action. So lower highs, lower lows, all the way down here, getting rejected, and we're selling off even further. So the next support to watch for charge point is going to be sitting right here at close to 24.40. That right there is going to be the level to watch. So again, if that level continues to get validated, I could see some consolidation sideways for CHPT, and then a potential, a breakout over, and then some consolidation. So again, but the selling pressure needs to get exhausted, and that's kind of like the case with a lot of EV stocks, right? They've been selling off aggressively at no fault of their own. So this is going to be the EV watch list. So you'll notice how Nikola down over 8%, we got Ride down over 5%, Hyliion down over 3%, Workhorse down over 3%, NIO and Tesla are the only ones kind of flat. And then Li Auto, XPeng are also kind of flat on the day with CCIP up over 11%. So definitely pushing higher. So that right there is going to be the support level to watch for charge point, and the next resistance is going to stay at close to $30 per share, because that's where we have gone rejected here more recently. So you'll notice we got rejected there. So $24 to $25, the next support, and this right here is going to be the next resistance to watch. All right, let's take a look at Adobe. So Adobe I also have on my main chart, so let me actually bring that up over here. So we're gonna go over to, all right. All right, so NEO also making some moves. So this right here is going to be the complete breakdown for Adobe. We had a level below 469, which seems to have gone validated all the way down here at close to 425. Previous support level here, previous support level here, so we validated that level before pushing higher. And the next resistance to watch for Adobe. Again, Adobe is a really strong company. Like fundamentally speaking, they've got a great business model, great customers, loyal customer base, higher retentions, great margins because it's a software as a service company. So 468 is going to be the next resistance that we need to watch for Adobe moving forward. And right now, again, we're seeing a bullish crossover for the MACD over the signal line. The RSI also starting to trend higher. So I could see some more upside for Adobe stock as well, if it continues to break out over those moving averages. So right now, that 21 EMA, the white line you guys see on the chart, acting as some type of a resistance right now. So we'll see if that level gets broken out, or if we do see any type of a pullback or a rejection from that level as well. All right, so let's take a look at Mara and Riot. Let me see where they're trading relative to where cryptos are. So Bitcoin touched as high as 61,000 right over the weekend. It was absolutely crazy. Right now it's at 55,000, so it's like really volatile too. But Mara again doing a really good job, kind of breaking out over $57 and validating that. Actually, this is Riot. So Riot doing a really good job kind of staying up over $57. That right there is going to be the next support level. Again, previous resistance, now starting to act as a validated support once again. So that right there is going to be the level to watch for Riot. And again, if you're looking to build out a much longer term position on this, considering you've done your research and looking at Bitcoin, because that's expected to rise as well in the future, 57 would be the first level to watch. But if you do see another potential weakness for blockchain, for cryptos, and for Riot as well, $40 is going to be the next level, kind of aligned with that 50 exponential moving average as well, right? So that's going to be the yellow line you guys see on the chart. So that right there is going to be the next support level. Quickly going over Mara, so that's going to be Marathon Capital. Again, they both trade in a very similar pattern. So looking at the 4-hour chart, this right here is going to potentially be the next support to watch at close to 39. I mean, almost exactly where it's trading now, because previous resistance here as well for Mara. So we got rejected a couple times, 3 times. And we are hovering right over that level, right? So that $40 level, call it 40, call it 39.85, is going to be the level. But right now, I mean, it's now starting to consolidate, right? So we do need to see a validation of those moving averages. We need to see a support from that level as well at close to $40 before we see some type of a trend reversal or some more upside for Mara moving forward. All right, so the SPYs are up close to over 20 basis points. The QQQ is up over 1.3. Definitely, we're seeing a lot of momentum and a lot of upside for the NASDAQ, more so than we are seeing for the S&P 500. Apple is pulling back a little bit, up over 1.7%. So Palantir is down. So Palantir is down a little bit over 2%. We've got GME down over 18, AMC down over 11. We've got Palantir, IPOE, all in the red. Lemonade down, LABU down. But a lot of tech is up. Apple up, Amazon also up close to 1%, and AMD is up close to over 2% on the day as well. So let's take a look at NNDM very, very quickly, and let's see where that's trading. So NNDM has also had a pretty significant move. So all it really needs to validate is going to be this $11 level. So again, previous support, validated multiple times. So you guys will notice right here, it kind of bounced off of that $11 level. So that right there is going to be the support, kind of validating those two moving averages as well. So a lot of rejection from the 21 and the 50 EMA, right? So if I were to kind of point that out, we got rejected here from that moving averages. We got rejected here as well from those moving averages right there. We also saw a lot of rejection from the moving averages right there as well. So 3 times, and now we are kind of breaking out and validating those as new support levels, right? So very, very important for NNDM to kind of validate that level. I think NNDM was one of the companies that does a lot of capital raises, right? Issues a lot of share offerings, but every time they get bought up because there's so much demand for their stock. So right there, yeah, the direct listing, $12.80, direct offering of 39.1 million shares. I think they did another one right here, $500 million direct offering. Secondary offering up to 8.5 million shares. So they've done a lot of share offerings and they've been able to raise a lot of capital. So $11 would be the next support level to watch, definitely, for NNDM. So yeah, I mean, that could be one of the reasons why they're raising so much cash, right? Because of the fact that they could have a lot of debt on their balance sheets. So let's see if TradingView is actually updated. But right now it does seem like they've got very low liabilities. And if you were to look at their total debt, long-term debt, it's now sitting at 1.8 million. Yeah, I mean, TradingView does show that they have a very, very low amount of debt, and total assets and cash is sitting well over 27 million. So all right, let's take a look at the Q. Is up over 1.4% now. We're seeing a lot of momentum from the NASDAQ right now, but there's not a lot of stocks that are following. There's a lot of stocks that are underperforming. I'm surprised what's actually moving the NASDAQs right now. Let me take a look at if there's anything interesting going on here, and if there's anything interesting on the maps. So this right here is going to be the complete state of the market now. And again, there's only 3 or 4 different stocks that are kind of leading on the day when it comes down to the S&P 500 that are keeping it up there. And even for the NASDAQ, I mean, energy is down severely. Like this right here is going to be the energy sector. We're down substantially, and so is banking. So banking is going to be over here, so you'll notice so much red here and over here to the right. And it's mostly been big tech, so semis, communication services, and cyclicals and tech leading. So again, a rotation away from value and cyclicals. What do you guys think? Is this going to sustain? Are we going to see tech lead off once again, or are you guys thinking that we see some type of rotation once again to value and cyclicals? What do you guys think? Only the FANG is pushing the QQQs. You're right. That is true. I mean, Palantir and some of those other sort of, I wouldn't call them like speculative, but they're also not big tech, obviously, but they are like in that category where I would put them like high growth. And that's where NIO, Tesla, you can make an argument. It's like, it's not big tech. Like officially big tech is like FANG names. But Tesla, again, is kind of pushing down, keeping the S&P, the NASDAQ a little bit lower. In NIO, we've got Palantir. And then Square is slightly in the red now. But everything else is like straight up green, very green. And that's what's pushing the QQQs higher. Stick with tech, Ross says. Yeah, I mean, if you look at, I mean, that's been one of the things that I've been covering for the last like 6 months or since the channel started. It's like I'm very tech concentrated, right? Um, and you know, there's been some great feedbacks and suggestions for me to cover value and cyclicals and like banking and energy, and I'm more than happy to do a technical analysis for everybody else's sake. Like if you really want to know what price points are going to be really important for them, I would definitely do that. But I'm personally kind of more inclined, more focused on tech, and not specifically just tech. Like I'm kind of building out a much bigger portfolio than I already have. So I'm looking at different sectors as well. So I'm looking at social media / tech, and I'm looking at fintech, semiconductors, looking at cybersecurity, looking at e-commerce, looking at different ETFs. So once that's completed, then I'll definitely be sharing that with the Patreon members. But that's kind of like the game plan. I mean, it has to have some component of tech in the business model, and if it completely depends on another commodity, on another price, that's the thing with another kind of holds me back is like when interest rates are going up, that's great for banks. When oil prices are going up, that's great for the energy sector. But what if it's the other way around? What if the interest rates are going down? What if oil prices are going down? Then their upstream business gets affected for the energy, right? Their debt products, credit lines, business loans get affected for the financials and banking sectors. So it's very difficult because, you know, those are things that are out of their control. Like the management can't do anything about the oil prices, right? I mean, what they can do is they can focus on their business. For Exxon, Chevron, BP, whatever the case may be, they can't really control the oil prices. Whereas tech, I feel like you have a lot of control over your own business and how you kind of grow within the industry. I mean, there's still going to be macro impacts, like economic impacts, but it's not as severe. It's not directly tied to the core business, at least to not that degree as it is for energy and financials, in my opinion. So again, I mean, we'll see, you know, how the year kind of turns out, because so far energy financials have the complete lead. If you look at year to date, you'll notice how energy and financials are straight up. Like look at energy, up over 35%. This is year to date map, right? Financials up over 15%. Tech is now coming in at a close 7th. So FNGU is my best stock. Yeah, I mean, today FNGU should be up by a lot. Although Tesla, Twitter are down, so I don't know if it's actually up by a lot or if it should be up by a lot actually. 3.5%, yeah. So again, Tesla is kind of keeping it down. If Tesla was ripping too, I mean, this thing would have been up like 8%, 9% on the day. But this again is going to be year to date. Energy financials still leading. We've got communication services coming in at a close 3rd, up over 13% compared to financials, up over 15%. We've got utilities, tech, we've got healthcare. All those sectors that get affected by the rising yields are coming in last. Let's take a look at the last 1 month. Again, it's a very similar situation with energy and financials leading. So, alright, so let's take a look at the markets now. Tesla back over 700. Look at NIO, just turned positive. NIO just turned green. So that's good. Tesla also almost turning green at this point. And so is Palantir is still down a little bit, 1.8%. So we'll see. Alright, let's take a look at how many people we have watching. I haven't done that in a while. So we got a little bit over 480, close to 500 people watching. Again, make sure that you guys drop a like. Let's see if we can get to at least 200 likes on this stream. I really appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Right, that's interesting to know. Yeah, Tesla's actually testing pre-market resistance at close to 709, 708. So NIO breaking out over 45. That's good. Fiverr is up over 3.7%. TQQQ, CCIV now up over 11% as well. Every day NIO volume is crazy. I agree, although yesterday was really low. I mean, I put out a video and I went over how yesterday's volume, like the entire market was actually really down in terms of the volume. We saw Tesla trading at close to 60% of the volume, and NEO trading at close to 75% of the volume, Apple also trading roughly at close to 75-80% of the volume. So it was a really low volume day. And that could also be, again, this Friday is also going to be quadruple witching, so we're going to have a lot of index futures, stock option futures, index options, a lot of those kind of simultaneously expire. So that's going to potentially raise some type of volume substantially over 200-300% on the New York Stock Exchange. So that could lead to some more volatility. Just wanted to remind you guys that's going to be the third Friday of March, June, September, and December. That happens like 4 times a year. So the Q is really pushing up over 1.5%. All right, let's take a look. Picked up Tesla today at 699. That's awesome. That's awesome. Look at QQQ is up over 1.5%. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq index here, and we are in the clear. We don't have anything until 13,700. So excuse me, I mentioned 13,600. The resistance is in fact 13,700 right here, and we are in the clear. The bulls regained control over those moving averages. A 12% correction was good. We were in the correction territory, and we are back up. We are back up. What do you guys think? New all-time highs or no? Let me know in the live chat. New all-time highs or no for the Nasdaq? So, do you guys think we're going to see new all-time highs or not for the Nasdaq? And that's going to be a jump for the Nasdaq. Let's take a look. Of another like 3.89, close to 4%. We're not that far away. I mean, 14,000 points is only like 400 points away. Ivan, that's a great question. So, all right, so you think we will see another sell-off soon? I want to invest, but I'm not sure what's going to happen with the market. So, in general, the sooner you start investing, the better it's going to be, in my strong opinion. It's almost impossible to time the market. In my previous videos, if you did get a chance to keep up, or if you have watched those, 14,100 was kind of like the psychological resistance that we were watching for the Nasdaq. A 12% correction is reasonable for the Nasdaq, right? It's been down 12%, very, very reasonable. I mean, anything over that, anything close to 20% is like a bear market, right? Why would we go into a bear market strictly based off of inflation fears, right? In my strong opinion, and again, this is my analysis, a bear market would more than likely occur if something happens that the market is not pricing in, meaning that something comes along and it completely blindsides the market, right? The U.S.-China trade war back in 2018 put us in a bear market. Nobody was expecting that. The pandemic that we saw, nobody was expecting that, right? It completely shut down the entire economy. But if you look at the interest rates, inflation, if you look at the potential raise in taxes, all of that is getting priced in very, very quickly. So, in my strong opinion, this is a really, really strong green day. So, I would kind of hold off and wait for the next red day to kind of nibble in a little bit. But if you do see any severe red days, I mean, I personally view them as really strong buying opportunities in general, right? Over the past few weeks, I did add more shares on Amazon. I did add more shares of Apple. I did add more shares of Tesla, NEO, Palantir. Like, I've been adding those more shares to those companies. So, exactly. So Ross is great. So he just says if you're scared, just average in each week or month, right? And always, in my opinion, I always recommend having at least some cash exposure. And when the markets are here, so let's say the markets are here, right? We're trading at this level. So we're right here. This would call for about 20 to maybe 22% cash exposure. In my opinion, that's what I personally do, is like when the markets are overheating, when they are literally like at an all-time high, they're again pushing higher. And it also depends on the personal portfolio, right? So if it depends, like if you want 10% exposure in Amazon, let's say for example, and that goes up to 15%, right? Because Amazon stock price has pushed up so much, maybe trimming 5%, rebalancing your portfolio, bringing your risk down in that sector, and that would also help you raise capital or raise cash. And again, if you're trading near all-time highs, if the markets are overheating, maybe consider increasing your cash exposure. And when the markets are down 15%, 16%, 20%, maybe decreasing that to over less than 10%, right? So when the markets were roughly over here, in my portfolio, I was sitting roughly at 6% cash. So that was running really, really low. I mean, if we continue to sell off, I mean, I would have at one point raised more capital, and then basically would have gone all in at some point. But again, that is only when the markets are severely red, like 25-30%, when the risk reward trade-off is so attractive that it would definitely make sense why you would want to go in and buy more shares. But if it's already near all-time highs, then yeah, I mean it wouldn't make sense to go all in, but it would make sense to kind of nibble in on those red days. But right now we're kind of like in the middle, so see that as somewhat of a good buying opportunity on red days. And get started. Like, that's the whole point, is just getting started in the first place, right? That's always the most difficult thing, is to start investing on a more consistent basis. Yep, so going small first and then averaging along the way, I mean, that builds confidence as well as you get more comfortable in the markets. So the tech sell-off tomorrow due to Powell speaking, I mean, I think it'll already get priced in today, Angel, because the Powell is speaking today at around 2:30 p.m. Eastern, so we'll find out what he says. And that's going to be very, very interesting. So again, we're looking at, my bad. So we're looking at this, the SLR requirements. So actually, let me go ahead and see. All right, guys, make sure that we get to at least 200 likes. We're only like 3 likes away. So again, thank you so much for joining in. Let's take a quick look at the markets. Wow, the QQQ is really up over 1.5%. The SPY is surging over 35. So the Nasdaq clearly outperforming the other sectors. Tesla now up over 704. And NEO rocketing right now, coming in from lows of $43. We're pushed up close to over 3% in the last 44 minutes. Palantir also trying to push higher. LABU just turned green. AMD up close to 2.5%, and Apple is also up over 2%. So this right here again is going to be the SLR requirement, right? So the reason why we've been seeing so much yields kind of rising at a rapid rate and the bond prices kind of slumping so hard. And again, when bond prices go down, yields go up. That's the inverse relationship between the two. And the reason why we've been seeing the yields kind of go up is because of this. So the SLR exemption is extended beyond, the SLR exemption, so that's going to be the supplementary leverage ratio. So that right there is going to be the supplementary leverage ratio, is a leverage ratio that varies between 3 to 5%. And what that means is that the US banks, some of the biggest banks in the United States that hold a lot of US treasuries, right now what happened till March 2021 is that those US treasuries are getting excluded from their leverage exposure ratio. So when you calculate how much cash they need to have in their reserve requirements, their US treasuries are getting excluded, meaning that they're not getting included and they don't need to worry about that. And that's extended till March 2021. But if the FOMC meeting, today's meeting, and Jerome Powell decide that they do not want to extend it beyond March, then what will happen is that US banks, so big US banks, may be forced to liquidate a significant portion of their USD holdings, so US treasuries, in the secondary market. And that will cause another wave of the plunge in the bond prices, and the bond yields will soar further. So that right there is going to be very, very important for us to actually have some color as to what the plans are for them with the Fed. And some estimates show that there's around $350 to $550 billion in US treasuries that may be forced to liquidate if the SLR is not extended. Then we kind of go into interest rates as well. And this is kind of like a scary picture to look at because interest rates back in 1980s were at close to 20%, so 19%. And right now we have been kind of selling off for the interest rates, the Fed funds rate, and we're trading literally at near zero levels, right? So once that starts going up, that's known as quantitative tightening. When interest rates start pushing higher, we're going to see less liquidity, we're going to see less borrowing, less growth in the economy, and that's obviously going to trickle down to the equities market as well. As the economy kind of slows down and we stimulate, or we kind of move away from stimulating that growth. So we'll see if that actually happens. But to give you guys a very quick update on the markets, the QQQ is up over 1.5%. That's incredible. So let's look at the one-day chart for the sector breakdowns. So this. All right, so the market's still pushing higher. Let's take a look at Shopify really quickly. And All right, we're gonna go over to the main chart. Guys, again, all these charts are going to be accessible to all of you guys. So if you want to get access to these, all the analysis are already going to be synced well. So you guys don't have to do anything. Everything will be on there automatically. You'll also get access to our private Discord and the growth portfolio as well. The Patreon link is going to be down in the description below. I think we have a little bit under 300 members right now. So this right here is going to be Shopify. So Shopify on the day up just about 1.7%. We're still breaking out over 1140. 1140 is going to be the support. Those two moving averages are again very, very important. The 50 EMA right now is sitting at 1182. So that would be the level to watch in my opinion. And the resistance, you know, all the way as high as 1200 or 1211, we have gone rejected at that level in the past as well. So right there is a resistance for us to watch. Beyond, if you do see a breakout over 1180, right? So the high for the day 1190. So that right there, the 50 EMA is going to be the resistance. I wanted to get Shopify under $1,000, but it really got away very, very quickly, similar to Square. And you know, from a valuation perspective, in my opinion, this company is still a little bit on the overvalued side. I mean, it's still a little bit richly traded. You know, price to sales, price to earnings. If you look at those metrics, I mean, it's just incredibly rich compared to some of the other stocks. So again, I mean, there's a lot of potential for this, but I just don't feel comfortable taking that trade right now because in the short term, I mean, if it does pull back down to 1,000 or even down to 875, I will watch those levels. The VIX is below 20, yes, right. In a few years, yeah. So I could see Shopify and Palantir also being added. It really depends. I mean, e-commerce wise, I mean, data science, data analytics, you know, they would, and e-commerce like retail, they would both make great additions to the S&P 500. But again, I think a lot of the S&P 500 will eventually just get influenced by tech. I mean, those two companies can both be labeled as tech companies, right? Shopify and Palantir. Right now, it's already 25% for the S&P 500, close to 20%, I believe. And the more and more influence tech has on the S&P 500, the broader markets, I mean, eventually it's just going to be very, very sort of, you know, imbalanced. Like if tech sells off, it's going to, right now we're already seeing that, right? Not so much. When tech sold off, the S&P was down a little bit over 6%. But if you see more additions of like tech companies in the S&P, then that's really going to influence. And it's just not going to be enough for energy, financial, some of those value companies to outweigh tech, right? That's just name of the game at this point is which company or which sector of companies has the most influence on the markets. All right, guys, so I'm actually going to end the live stream over here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm going to be putting out the market update very, very soon. Again, a lot of the companies are still in the green. So PayPal, Shopify, Netflix, Baidu, QuantumScape, Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, AMD, everything is pretty much in the greens right now, except for some companies like Tesla is still kind of hovering, consolidating sideways. Palantir is down a little bit. NMDM, Plug Power, AMC are also down substantially. Square kind of struggling a little bit, consolidating sideways. Enphase is also consolidating sideways as well. I think NEO turned positive, if I'm not mistaken. So let me see if I have NEO on there. So yeah, NEO just turned positive, up over 33 basis points. Again, all these charts are going to be accessible. This is our select sector index chart. Got about eight different sectors. Call it the horse race, and we look at the different sectors. Very, very interesting, exciting stuff for myself. But again, the FOMC meeting starts at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. I'll be watching that if I'm awake. I mean, right now it's at 8:15 p.m. So we've also got the daylight savings. So 1 hour earlier is when I will usually start these live streams according to my time and your time. Well, according to my time. So, and then, the FOMC meeting, keep a close eye on the interest rates. And if we have any more details on that, I'll break that down. We also broke down the CPI report. Energy commodity prices were the biggest catalyst for driving the inflation higher. But the core CPI, again, ticked it down because when you exclude food and energy, that's what the better than expected core CPI was that pushed the markets even further. Quickly going over the yields. So the 10-year yields, where are they trading? So they're down about 1% as 1.59. And then actually let me add the VIX as well to this so that we have a really good understanding of where that's trading. So the VIX is trading below 19.6 or below 20 levels. So again, that is giving us some type of a green light. That's going to happen first time since the pandemic started. So in over a year, we're seeing the volatility kind of die down below 20, and it's down about 2%. So very, very interesting stuff in the market. The NASDAQ, next resistance, 13,700. In my opinion, is going to be the next resistance to watch, and the S&P is already near all-time highs once again. So I hope you guys enjoy this live stream. If you do, make sure that you drop a like. It really helps out with the channel in a great way. We're trying to get to 50,000 by the end of this week. We'll see if we get there, again, with the help of you guys. Hopefully we will. Thank you again for joining me this morning. Thank you for your support, for subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video.